What's good, everybody? It's Tyler here with Esports, and today I am joined by Evil Genius's Jungler Inspired right after their last series of the lock-in tournament here against TL. And unfortunately, of course, you guys didn't get the end that you wanted, but thanks for joining me.
No problem.
Yeah. So, looking at this kind of series and the kind of knockout stage as a whole, TL coming into the finals looked a little bit shaky, even though they did get the wins. They looked a little bit shaky compared to you guys, went straight full undefeated until today. In your opinion, what kind of surprised you and your team the most from TL, and what kind of made them tough to adjust throughout the series?
I don't think we got surprised. I mean, I got surprised that they play Sylas. I think we didn't expect that, and I think they played fine, but I don't feel like they were way better than us. I think game 1 and 2, we just played pretty bad draft because we picked like TF with 2 losing side lanes that can't really pressure too hard and can't use TF while we are getting outscaled. So the game is basically really hard to win, and we have to like rely on enemies making mistakes, and they made few mistakes, but then we just like played pretty bad in team fights. And game 3, I think we were just playing quite well with way better draft than in game 1 and 2. So the game was like way easier for us to play, but we didn't snowball it well enough, and then we just like played pretty bad in the team fight. I think we get a little bit too excited while we start winning, and we go for like too aggressive plays during team fight when you can play a bit slower and just win the team fight automatically. So I think with experience and like even this series was like very good experience for our players. Like for example for Jojo, I think he learned a lot, and it will be only better next time.
You answered a bunch of my questions that I have, but okay. I mean, that's good. Like hoping for the future. It's your first time playing it together, but I first wanted to ask you. You're playing against Bjergsen and you play against Santorin, but these two guys are kind of legends of the scene. Playing against players like that, how did they kind of live up to the expectations that you had for them, seeing as this is like kind of your first time playing against them?
I think they are not too good. I think Bjergsen is. Bjergsen, I didn't expect him to be as good as he is right now. I thought that he would be like pretty mediocre mid laner when he comes back because he didn't play for 1 year. But he's still like probably him and Jojo the best mid laners in the league. But I think he's not like unbeatable or something. Same for Santorin. I think he's like pretty good, but it's not the level that we can't get or something. So they're just fine players. Like not really like anyone that I would be scared of.
Okay, fair. Now, looking at the league as a whole, this is obviously your first time coming over to North America, so first off, welcome. But although there were some teams that didn't have their full lineup, what are kind of your first impressions of the level of play here on the LCS stage and its competitive scene?
I mean, the first games were pretty easy when we played against the bottom teams, so they didn't like really surprise me or anything. And against TL, I mean, it was like pretty clear this series that their 2 best players were Buipo and Hans, so the players that I know quite well, and I already played against them in EU. So my impression of NA is that people are not too good here. It's just like the imports of the teams are just their best players. So
Okay.
I guess.
Speaking of which, when you talk about looking at comparing the regions, from what you've seen so far, what are some of the biggest differences that you've noticed comparing North America to Europe? Whether that's play style in the game, or even the working environment with your team, or even general lifestyle here in the US compared to over in Europe.
I think this question is not really like, it's hard to answer like comparing EU to NA. I think it's just about persons that you're working with. It's not really a thing that I'm working in Berlin and then our work is like different, like practice is different than here in NA. I think it just depends on personalities that you have in the team. I think in Rogue we had like more serious atmosphere during scrims, while here I think Jojo is like very I don't know how to say it. He doesn't care, honestly. He just does whatever he wants, and sometimes he just runs it down. Sometimes he will just carry the game. He doesn't really care, especially in practice. So the atmosphere is like a bit less tryhard. and it's coming mostly from him. I think other players are similar to what I had on Rogue, that are like very focused on the game and they do their best even in practice. So I think there is like no difference specifically in NA and EU in that regard.
Okay. Now, okay, well, let's talk about jojopyun, because he's someone that I wanted to kind of talk to you about, because like a lot of analysts and people that watch the league and League of Legends as a whole, they think that mid and jungle, that kind of duo, is one of the most important parts of a really good team. And so working with someone like jojopyun, who's very young, very inexperienced, but has a ton of potential, as his partner in the jungle, what would you say are some of the best things that you can see in his play so far? And like you mentioned, some of his maybe over aggressiveness. What are other things that you think he could work on for the future?
I think he is very aggressive, and that's very good too. When you are a rookie and you are already aggressive and confident in your own skill, that's very good, because that's basically how you can beat players with like big legacy, like Bjergsen, for example. And he just knows he's better than him, and he's not scared. And he can also pull out any champion. Basically, he doesn't need to practice it. He's just like good at the game, so he can basically first time a champ and he'll play it well. And what he would need to practice on, I feel like he needs to look at the game a bit differently. Like not like in solo queue you're winning games but just outplaying enemies and just playing really aggressive and you just kill them basically. And in competitive games, sometimes like very small victories can lead you into big leads, and then you just snowball the game from that. So I think sometimes he just needs to have like better presence of mind of what's happening on the map and how he can influence the team play. So I think this will come eventually with experience. I think I don't think any player just has it like instantly when he's a rookie and he just starts playing. So I'm trying to work on it to help him with that and just think on the bigger picture when he's playing.
Okay, awesome. One more question here. I'm going to actually take a step back from the lock-in and actually talk about the offseason a little bit, because I'm sure as one of the premier players on the market during that offseason, what was kind of like when you came to Evil Genius, how did they kind of pitch their team to you in a way to like kind of convince you that this was the best place for you to play at?
I mean, I knew that Vulcan is probably the best support in NA. Same for Impact with the top lane. I knew they're like two very good stable players, and I have a lot of trust in like new upcoming players for mid and AD, because I was also the upcoming player, and when I was coming in, I knew that I'm gonna be like the best or like at least top 3 jungler, and every like people on the other teams or like analysts and stuff like that didn't really like think about that way, because obviously everyone is like the rookie coming into the league, so he'll probably be fine, not like someone very good. So I just saw some games of Jojo, I saw games of Danny, and I saw a lot of potential in that, and I knew that if I will come there and give them also the knowledge that I have and give them the knowledge that I didn't get when I was starting, because when I was starting I felt like I didn't really have anyone that helped me improve on stuff that are very important. And if I can help them with this right now at the beginning of their career, I think we can be like very good team.
Okay. Now, looking ahead, this is my final question for you: is what are your expectations? What kind of expectations are you setting on yourself for your first year here in North America?
I think jungle is weak, so I can't really like carry games. Especially right now, I think jungle is more of the supportive role in the game. So I want to work well with Jojo. I think that's the biggest goal for this year. I think if I will help him with the more like knowledge stuff in the game, and he will just play his game well, I think we can be the best mid jungle and we can carry most of the games. So I think that will be a big goal for me, just to look at the game from also mid perspective, so he maybe doesn't need to do that much thinking, and I can like lead the game from both me and him. And I think that will be like the biggest focus for me for now.
Okay. Okay, well, that's all that I have for you guys. Thank you so much, Inspired, for joining me, and thank you guys for watching. If you guys want more coverage like this, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching. For more gaming-related content, subscribe to the Esports YouTube channel to stay up to date.